Warning, this is going to be a very long antique eBay unboxing video. We're going to go down the Google rabbit hole. We're going to do some investigation. We're going to find out what we have here and try to find out if it's actually silver instead of tin. Okay, so every so often when you collect antiques, by the way, let me go in the drawer and get the scissor out if I can even find it. Okay, here we go. You really get into different modes of collecting. So you might collect one thing for a long time and then you branch out and you get into other things. But when you get into other things that you don't know about, sometimes you can get no answers. So what do you have to do? You have to try to figure out what you have. And then once you know and you actually gain knowledge, you can actually become really good at collecting the new thing that you branched out into. Now, this is a new type of collectible that I've been getting into, and it's antique snuff boxes. And I'm not 100% sure that that's what we even have here. Now, a Canadian seller was selling this, and they had like a make an offer button. I made an offer of 35 bucks. They cut off. Sorry. And they charged me like $22 shipping, but it only cost them like $12 to ship this to me. So I'm a little pissed off because I noticed the price on the envelope, but whatever. I agreed to it, right? Okay, so enough of my bitching and moaning. And so I think this might be a very, very old snuff box. They said that it was a tin trinket box. And, sometimes, actually in the pictures, the metal going around it looked like it was silver. And the pictures weren't very good. And let's see what we have here. All right, so I'm going to pick it up. Now I don't think we have silver at all. After looking at this looks brass. Actually, I mean, it could possibly be silver gilded brass. And is it a snuff box? That is the question. So let's look at it. So it has a seashell on the top with a painted enameled bird. And then we're going to turn it around. Now, sometimes you can tell the age of something by its hinges. And this has a stand-out hinge. I don't know if you could see that, but it has a hinge that stands out. Usually older pieces have hinges like this, where the hinge is on the outside of the box, as opposed to on the inside of the box. So let's try to open this and take a look at the construction. Okay, so this is what I mean. You see how the hinge actually, oh, I got a hole in my glove. How embarrassing. All right, you see how this has a hinge that stands out of the box as opposed to is incorporated and actually built into the box? That's telling me this is older. Now, I was hoping this is Georgian era, and I don't know for sure. So that's why we're going to go down the Google rabbit hole. Now, if you look at the construction, you could see that it actually has little dovetails in there. Let's point. So actually, let me get my pointer. And so right here, we have some dovetailing. And I don't know if you can see that. Let me get my light in there. I'm going to just turn my light. And yeah, this video is going to be in like a long one. It's going to be a long ass boring video. So right there, we got some dovetails. Let's check. Do we have any more dovetails? That's very, very interesting, the construction of this. So it was soldered in this area. Again, right here. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. See how it has almost like a tongue and groove type of deal going on there? You see how like one piece overlaps the other. Now, I do notice a little bolt over here. Actually, that's a good thing. That's showing me that this is old. Now, the early Georgian snuff boxes had little bolts. And they did not have the hinge that was incorporated into the box. It was a stand-out or stand-alone hinge like this one. And there we go. And you would notice on the back, here, let's go. See how it's sandwiched in between two pieces of metal? So we have like this middle part, the hinge part, which is sandwiched in here. So this is telling me this is actually much older than, say, something that's contemporary in the last maybe 50 years. This is actually looking to me at least 100 years old, if not Georgian. So now the design. This is another dead giveaway. Usually early snuff boxes had something called chinoiserie. Chinoiserie. And it's almost like a French term for a style or actually art and decoration reflecting like Chinese motifs. And the Chinese actually used to use a lot of art with birds in it and like little flowers. So this is definitely looking like chinoiserie. And again, the earlier snuff boxes, especially like the Georgian era ones, would actually use chinoiserie type of motifs. Now the metal. Now this has a good seal when you close it, so that's why I'm thinking it's definitely not a trinket box, but a snuff box. You can see this little groove here. So when this box closes, it seals really well. Now the bottom, of course, with older snuff boxes, there's generally no markings on them. You won't even see if it's a like actually precious metal like silver. There's like no markings. So the first thing we're going to do right now is we are going to test the metal. So we're going to see if we have actually silver gilt. If it's silver gilded, chances are that this is very old and is of the Georgian era, because a lot of the snuff boxes were actually made out of silver or precious metal. So let's get the testing kit out. Then we're going to go down the Google rabbit hole and try to figure out just how old this is. All right, so I got this kit from Amazon for like under $10. It comes with a little stone, and by the way, it arrived like this. All these cracks in it, and it's like damaged. So we had to use a spot that's undamaged to do our test. Now it came with silver acid as well as different grades of gold acids. The silver method, is like a brownish liquid or fluid, and it's very hard to tell. If it turns like a red or a rusty brown, it usually means silver, but the fluid is actually, here, I'll show you, the same color as what would come out if it was silver. So it's very hard to tell. So we're going to test with 18 karat gold fluid. So what you do is you scratch a little bit of the metal onto here, and if it turns like a milky, almost like opal white with a little tinge of blue in it, then it's silver. So what you want to do is you want to find a spot, you know what I mean, to rub off that you won't notice as much, because you're going to rub off some of this metal. And you want to get a really long and thick strip of the metal actually rubbed onto this. So let me go ahead and get a lot of this on here. Now it's showing up on the stone as like a brass color or a goldish color. And the problem is with that is that, usually if it's silver, you'll actually notice the stripe is actually silver. So let me just lower my stand and let's see what kind of reaction we're going to get with this. So I'm going to zoom in. Now, if it's silver also, the stripe that you see there that I scratched off will stay. It won't disappear. Same thing with like gold. Like if it instantly disappears, then you know you don't have anything. All right, so I'm going to just put a strip going down here and see what we got. And yeah, I do not think we have silver. I do not think we have silver at all. Perhaps, maybe it is unmarked gold. So I'm going to get the 10 karat solution out. And again, this is going to be a very long video. So I suggest, if you're not interested in anything like this, to hit the back button. You will probably like hate my channel. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to do a strip here. All right, so let's go. Now, I'm just going to double check the instructions really fast to see what's supposed to come out if it's actually gold, and I'll be back. Okay, so here's what it says. Okay, so basically, fully dissolved, not gold. Partially dissolved, 1K to 10K. Not dissolved at all, 10K or greater. And then continue to the other grades of acid. All right, so let's check it out. So this is, I just want to make sure this is the 10K. Yes, this is 10K. And I am not seeing anything dissolving, which is absolutely amazing. Okay, do you see anything dissolving? Let's turn. I really don't see it dissolving. Now it is actually starting to dissolve. Well, shit. That sort of sucks, because I want it to be like precious metal. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I just got acid on my finger. I'll be back. I'm burning. Dumbass move number 363. Never do one of these tests without wearing rubber gloves. And yes, my thumb is actually, it's probably got a 2nd degree burn on it. You can't say I don't bring content to my channel. I mean, I burn myself for you guys to do experiments. All right, so far what we know is that this does not have precious metal. That's not to say that it's not an antique snuff box, because there were brass antique snuff boxes, and there were tin snuff boxes, and there were ones even made out of paper mache and other cheaper materials. So far we have a chinoiserie bird. We have like the Chinese motifs, again, French term. We have a seashell shaped one, which is also indicative of probably like a late 1700s, early or mid Victorian, Georgian to mid Victorian snuff box. Now let's go down the Google rabbit hole. So I found a nifty site called Dating Snuff Boxes, and they start from the 1680s. And what this guy says is, dating unmarked late 17th century, early 18th century English snuff boxes. A lot of them were English, by the way. Basically, what is a snuff box? It's a small, usually ornamented box for holding snuff, which was a scented powdered tobacco. The practice of sniffing or inhaling a pinch of snuff was common in England around the 17th century and in the early 18th century. It became widespread in other countries when the demand for decorated snuff boxes, which were considered valuable gifts, increased. Some were small enough to fit in a waistcoat pocket. Others were larger. All gave 17th and 18th century craftsmen an opportunity to execute rich and elaborate designs. So snuff boxes reflected the art and craft of the painter of miniatures, the enameler, the jeweler, the goldsmith, and silversmith. Lids were often decorated, with chinoiserie and other typical 18th century subject matter, such as allegories and flowers, whilst more expensive items were made of gold and silver. Less expensive items were made from horn, tortoiseshell, mother of pearl, or wood. So here's a guy explaining. Very few of them, by the way, carried hallmarks and maker's marks. So now, how do you know about dating them? The lack of full, information is lacking on the internet. It's very hard to figure this stuff out. So it says most of the box lids were decorated with silver or gold piqué work. Don't know if I pronounced that right, which occasionally extended to the side and base. They were mainly oval in shape, sometimes rectangular, occasionally round, but the one thing they seem to have in common in the late 17th century, say from 1680, was stand-away hinge. By this, I mean a hinge by which the lid was secured to the body with studs, rivets, or screws, see photos below, but where the barrel of the hinge stands away from the body of the box. The stand-away hinge appears to have evolved over a period of around 20 to 30 years into one where the hinge becomes an integral part of the body of the box, being soldered to the side. Now, mine does have soldering on it. To summarize, it would appear that dating these boxes might seem haphazard. Yeah, I'd say so. But it really comes down to a question of the design, the pattern of decoration, and recognition of the style of hinge. 1680, we have this style, and you see bolts, but we do see the stand-away hinge. 1690, you see it's not built into the box or integrated into the box. Very interesting. 1700, again, we have a stand-away hinge, not built inside the box, but away and actually out of the box, if you know what I mean. 1710, we have this style again. The hinge is not built inside the box. 1720, again, we had this type of sandwiched, like the hinges in the center and two pieces of metal, one on the bottom, one on the top. And this actually helps me try to date my snuff box. Again, if you notice, we have that stand-away hinge, very much like the ones that we see in this Dating Snuff Boxes article. And again, you see it's not incorporated inside the box. Looking closely at the box, it may have an impressed mark. I don't know if it's a mark or just like some kind of flaw to the box, but you see that right there? That little punch-in impression that looks like something. I don't know. But then again, it just could be nothing. Okay, so again, I'm showing you. You see how it's not inside the box and how mine is not inside the box? This is telling me it's old. So again, in looking in the construction, you can see it has a weird tongue and groove pattern. You also see, let me get my pointer. You also see Like right here, you see some kind of odd way of construction that is not very, it's not a contemporary way of putting something together. That's an old way of putting something together. And also in the lid, you see that odd construction as well, right here. So this is telling me this isn't a mass-produced modern type of box. I'm going to show you some other snuff boxes that are generally Georgian in time frame, and I'm thinking this is possibly Georgian. Again, the way the construction is, the shape, the fact that we have a shell, we have a chinoiserie, is telling me that this is actually probably not a modern mass-produced piece. So here is an antique brass. Actually, they call it an oval tobacco tin, which again is a snuff box. It's not giving the date though on it, but you see it has, it looks like the hinge is on the outside of the box. This one though has a little bit of an incorporation of a tab on the inside of the box holding it together. So my guess is this is probably mid-Victorian to late Victorian. To see an 18th century Dutch brass snuff box. And if you look, you do not see the hinge inside the box. You do see two little bolts though. Mine is lacking that. But yeah, this one is pretty old. Let's check out the shape. There we go. And again, they didn't have to be made out of precious metals, which is actually comforting to me. Here's the hinge, how it was constructed on the back. Very interesting. Here's yet another antique 18th century gold mother of pearl snuff box, gold, 15,500. Nice. Has little bolts on the inside, so that's showing you it's an earlier one. And again, they're using the mother of pearl type of shell decoration. That is just absolutely stunning. Look at that one. Wow. And the hinge is on the outside. Okay, so I Googled antique mother of pearl shell snuff box. We have one here. If I click on that, it probably won't even take me to it. Maybe we'll do that in a moment. Here's another one made out of mother of pearl, but it's carved and it's Chinese and silver. The hinge is on the outside. And this is a Georgian era one. Very early, actually late 1700s. Here's some more. And they have Chinese export style. No, I don't know. Mine could possibly be Chinese, English, or Dutch is my guess. And here's Dutch ones over here. So it always didn't have to be English, as you can see. You can also see the chinoiserie designs, which had birds and flowers and different motifs. Very interesting. All right, so let's go into here and check out some other ones. Here's an 18th century one. This is a cowrie shell, and this has precious metal. Here is actually a snuff box made out of paper mache. So they weren't always made out of precious metals. Here's another one, Georgian, with a seashell. Let's check out some of the other ones. A Persian one with mother of pearl. And let's look at, wow, some of these are exquisite. Absolutely exquisite. Here's another shell one, very, very old. And yet another one. And we have that hinge on the outside. And let's look for more. Here's another snuff box. It looks like it's made out of some kind of brass, shaped like a shell. Seems they were actually really, really into the shell type of design. Here's another one with a seashell. Very, very interesting. Let's find some more. And again, another one, mother of pearl. Let's just, for shits and giggles, click on that and try to see if we get any information and if it's similar to the closing and the hinge of my box. This one is dated 1720. And wow, quite pretty. It doesn't look like mine, but it's similar. We have that hinge on the outside of the box. Again, but this has bolts, so you know it's earlier. Here are some other ones, 18th century. Now, I'm not saying that mine is from the 1700s. Definitely not an expert, but this one has a seashell, and this one has designs etched into it. Very, very interesting. We got the standout or standalone hinge on the back. And let's try to see it with it open. Yes, the hinge is not on the inside of the box. That's interesting. Let's look at another one. And this is 18th century. And we get the shell again. And shell motifs were very popular, I could see here, with the hinge on the outside of the box. Let's try to see if they have different pictures so we can see. Yeah, the hinge is actually, here we go. on the outside of the box. I want to see if they showed the back of the hinge in one of their pictures. Yeah, it's like sandwiched in. Very interesting. We have another one, and this is mother of pearl, European and Chinese silver, with mother of pearl. And wow, that is actually really cool. It has a dragon on the other side. That's beautiful. And again, we got the stand out hinge. This one has bolts though, so you know it's earlier. So you see we're learning. And there's a hinge actually, not incorporated into the box, on the outside of the box. Okay, my verdict. Let's see. Actually, here's another one with a shell. This one is 1790s. We got that sandwiched hinge. It's not incorporated into the box. Is that what we just saw? No, it's different from the one we just saw on eBay. And this is quite interesting. Very, very interesting. You see, we're learning. And again, the hinge is not incorporated inside the box. And then I typed in Shinazari. Did I say that right? Bird. And so you get an idea of, see how popular that Chinese style was with the birds and the flowers. So that is an example of chinoiserie. Very, very interesting. And here's a chinoiserie. And you see a bird with flowers. Chinoiserie. I like that word, chinoiserie. Here's another one. Beautiful. And you see a bird with flowers on a seashell. And that's a nice, nice snuff box. Actually beautiful. Really gorgeous. Let's see if we see any others. And here's, again, all chinoiserie style. So now you get an idea of what chinoiserie is. And again, we have this really interesting designs here, chinoiserie. This is actually Persian. And Persians made similar type of designs to chinoiserie. And again, more chinoiserie. And here's a chinoiserie. And that one's a shell. And this is but made actually out of porcelain. A porcelain shell painted. Wow. Chantilly was a porcelain company in France in the 1700s and early 1800s. $3,611.65. Well, mine certainly isn't worth that. Definitely. So what did we learn today? We learned that we most likely, my guess, have a mid-Victorian one, probably on the earlier side, probably from the 1830s to the 1850s. It's made out of brass. We have chinoiserie, mother of pearl shell, and I don't know the value. I guess not as much as, say, these more expensive ones that have precious metal or beautiful tortoise shell like this one. But then again, I think we learned something today. Write it in the comments below if you know anything about this box or if you just have anything to say. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm glad you went down the Google rabbit hole with me. And I don't know what you think. Do you think that's what we have, a chinoiserie snuff box from like the 1830s to about the 1850s? If I'm wrong, trust me, I'm no expert. I'd like to hear it from you.